What is going on, you guys? It is your girl, Dana Patrice, aka the Black Fairy, and I am here with another, um, if you will, the Christian God is Evil Live. And I'm so sorry for the delay. It's been a little bit weird with the technology, but that's not going to stop us. I'm just going to play some music while I just do some final settings. Deconstruct with me. I'm packing all this drama, throwing in with their places. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tap the notification zone. Leave a comment, let me see you put the fairy wings on. In this realm we grow and prosper. In this realm come in and be yourself. Black fairy kings, sprinkling the fairest over your mind, liberating all the minds who search for truth, one piece of love. The black fairy agenda, yeah. It's up and it's stuck. Yeah, deconstruct with me, deconstruct with me. Unpacking all this trauma, tuning in with Dana Patrice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tap the bell notifications. I wanna leave a comment, let me see you put them fairy with the fairy wings on. In this realm, we grow and prosper. In this realm, come in and be yourself. Black fairy tales, sprinkling the fairest over your mind, liberating all the minds who search for truth, one piece of love. The black fairy agenda, yeah, yeah. It's up and it's stuck, yeah, yeah.
Hey. Yeah, it's Dana Patrice, step into the space. Black fairy ting, sprinkle truth on the place. We deconstruct vibes, make the old ways shake. Liberating minds, no you can't fake fate. Tap, 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 blow the likes off the chart. Tap, 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 show the love from the heart. Tap, 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 if you're vibing, don't stop. Tap, 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 run it up, run it up. Tap, 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 love it up, run it up. Tap, 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 love it up, run it up. Tap, 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 love it up, run it up. Tap, 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 run it up, run it up. Tap, screen, let's go, let's go. Fairy dust flow, watch it grow, watch it grow. Dana Patrice, say my name, say my name. Black fairy tings up and stuck, no shame. Hey. Tap, 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 all night, don't stop. Tap, 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 run the numbers to the top. Tap, 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 all night, don't stop. Tap, 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 run it up, run it up. Hey.
Dana Patrice, step into the space. Black fairy things, sprinkle truth from the place. We deconstruct vibes, make the old ways shake. Liberating minds, no you can't fake fate. Tap, tap, tap.
I am ready to start. How are you guys doing? Hello, Henry. What is going on? I don't know if anybody else is here. I think I only have one viewer, but that's totally fine. I know y'all come back and watch the replay. So if you're a part of the replay gang, let me know in the comments that you stopped by and what you think about what we're talking about today, which is that, well, my continued series, The Christian God is Evil. And this time we're talking about free will or the lack thereof. You know, I hear a lot of Christians use that to excuse God's behavior, and we're going to get into it. I just want to pull up my notes real quick, which is the one thing I didn't do, but it's cool, right? So welcome back, you guys. And today we are stepping on some, holy toes.
As I said, Christians love to throw out free will like it's like the Uno reverse card of theology. Anytime something bad happens, anytime God doesn't step in, anytime a victim asks, why me? Suddenly it's, well, God gave us free will. And honestly, that argument does not hold up. Not biblically, not logically, not morally. So today, we're going to talk about why the Christian God is actually evil based on the scripture Christians claim to love, and why the idea of free will is nothing but a convenient excuse to keep people blaming themselves instead of blaming God. Let's get into it. So first things first, I want to you know what? Let me just jump in. If the Christian God truly respects free will, why does he, ever use it in the Bible, right? Like I've seen so many stories in the Bible that contradict a God that gives free will. We can start with Noah's flood, for example. And I'm going to, I like to pull up the scripture, right? Y'all aren't going to have me out here acting like I'm just talking-ish. So let's pull it up, and we're going to go to Genesis 6, I believe. But let's start with the flood, right? If God respects free will so much, why drown the entire world? Women, children, babies, animals, okay? Everybody got washed like, I don't know, like the laundry, okay? Where was their free will? Nobody got a vote. God just said, y'all pissed me off. Everybody unalives. That's not a God that respects free will. That's like a dictator throwing a tantrum, right? So here we are, Genesis 6, where we talk about the wickedness of humans. We've gone through this story before, so I'm not going to read it bar for bar, but this is where I'm coming from, right? So again, it starts with when the people began to multiply on the face of the ground and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves of all that they chose. Then the Lord, my spirit shall not abide in mortals forever, for thy flesh, their days shall be 120 years. It talks about the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward when the sons of God went into the daughters of humans who bore children to them. These were the heroes that of old, warriors of renown. So the Lord saw this as wickedness of humans great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of their heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he made humans on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out from the earth the humans I have created, people together with animals and creeping things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the sight of the Lord. Now, I want to read this part because it gets into the plot of Noah going out and spreading the word that and giving people the opportunity, which was not true. There's nowhere in this text that says that, right? So even when it goes into it, so Noah pleases God. It says, these are the descendants of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God, and Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence, and God saw that the earth was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth. So we're getting into God saying again why he wants to destroy the world. This is him interfering. If the world was taking their free will to do these evil acts, and God is a respecter of free will, and that's why bad things are allowed to happen, why did God intervene here? Right? Why is this an example of God directly intervening, deciding that humans could not decide for themselves, choosing who gets to live or unalive, and moving forward in that kind of direction? Right? So, and God said, Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Now I am going to destroy them along with the earth. Make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover its inside and out with pitch. This is how you are to make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. Its width, 50 cubits. Make a roof, going on with the thing. Nowhere so far have we seen that he has sent Noah to speak to anybody and to inform anybody to allow them to change anything, right? And he said, for my part, I'm going to bring floods of water on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, which is the breath of life. Everything that is on earth shall unalive. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark with your sons, your wife, your sons' wives with you, and of every living thing of all flesh. You shall bring 2 of every kind to the ark, and keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female of the birds, and so on and so forth. There is nothing that said, right? He is to preach to anybody. He just made the decision because of humans and Nephilim taking upon themselves to use their free will to do what they desired. And whether it was evil in God's sight or not, this is him directly intervening into it. And if that's the case, then why doesn't he show up now? We see many things happening on earth that this God would have issue with, but he doesn't intervene. So Noah did all that he commanded him, and then it goes right into the great flood. Like I said, there was no point where he said to go talk to anybody about this. Not at all. So that's one, right? I mean, and you can go through Genesis 6 through 9. You can pull it up. God regrets, right? That's another thing. If he's all knowing, then how could he make a decision that he could regret if everything was a part of a plan? There's so many parts of this, but right now we're sticking to free will. The next plot that we find in the Bible where this God does not appreciate nor give free will is Pharaoh's heart when he was releasing the Israelites from Egypt out of slavery that he put them in, by the way. He put them in slavery. He told Abraham long ago that that was his plan. Now he's delivering them. And this is one of my favorite examples because it absolutely destroys the free will argument. In Exodus, Pharaoh wanted to let the Israelites go. Yes. He literally said, yes, okay. And God said, no, I'm going to harden your heart. So you say no. So God reached into this man's heart, brain, and changed his decision. That is the opposite of free will. And God in the text even explains why. Because he wanted to show off with plagues, flex a little, get some drama going so he could show the children of Israel what his power looked like who was saving them. He put on this great grand show. All these children having to unalive in that final plague just because he wanted a performance. But then Christians want me to believe that he can't stop a school unaliving today because of free will. And again, I'm going to back this up with scripture. We're going to go to Exodus, right, where this story takes place. And it's 4 through 14. But I want to go to Exodus 4, verse 21. There we go. Because this is where God states to Moses ahead of time that he will harden Pharaoh's heart. So if we go to 4:21, and the Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders that I've put in your power, but I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Right? And then we have in Exodus 7, verses 3 and 4. God says again, but I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and I will multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. When Pharaoh does not listen to you, I will lay my hand upon Egypt and bring my people to and bring my people, the Israelites, company by company, out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. The Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out from among them. So once again, he's hardening his heart. Not the last time. We're going to lay it all out here, y'all. We're not going to leave anything unturned. In chapter 9, verse 12. But the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not listen to them, just as the Lord had spoken to Moses. So prophecy becoming true. Again here, hardening the heart. Just so he could show off, just so he could show how great he is for delivering the Israelites from the slavery he put them in. He didn't ask them, right? In Exodus 10 again, if we go to 20, and this is why I like to pull up the receipts, because I know people will be in the comments wanting to talk ish, but I'm not saying this again. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. 27, confirmation again. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was unwilling to let them go. And then if we go to Exodus 14, and we go to 4, he again states and boasts, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, so that I will gain glory for myself over Pharaoh and all of his army, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Lord, and they did so. Be serious, you guys. Sorry, I live in the city. But be serious, you guys. Are you seeing this? Right? You can't wiggle out of this. That's God directly overriding someone's decisions. That's not free will. And it's all for the purpose of his supposed glory. I got more, right? Another story that we've also been through on this channel, but continues to drive home the point, would be Job. Job didn't choose to be tested. He didn't give consent. He didn't sign a waiver. God and Satan literally made a bet on his life, and it was God's idea. They killed his children, unalived his children, destroyed his home, took his health, and Job's free will. What happened to that? It did not matter. His children's free will, who got unalived, didn't matter. And God said that he did this unprovoked in the text. Let's get into it. So in Job 1, right, it says that there once was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camel, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. His sons used to go and hold feasts in one of their and another's houses in turn, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And when the feast days had run their course, Job would send and sanctify them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. So this is what Job always did. One day, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, who also came with them, who's, most of you say is Satan, just, strolled back into heaven after apparently being kicked out even before the garden. I'm just saying, right? The accuser comes, and the Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" And the accuser answered, "Lord, from going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job?" So again, the Lord said to the accuser did not bring Job to the forefront, did not bring him up at all. It was God who did. He said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil." So God, again, confirming that Job is this innocent being. The accuser answered the Lord and says, does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a fence around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in land. But stretch out your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. The Lord said to the accuser, "Very well, all that he has is in your power. Only do not stretch out your hand against him." And the accuser went out of the presence of the Lord. And that's when he loses his children and his property, right? His wife even says, strike him down. So in 2, the attack on his health begins, right? Again, he has no say in any of this. There was no point where Job got to be like, Job, I want to show the devil just how great of a man you are and just how much you can go through. You will be a testament of time. You will be an experience to show nothing, okay? Job had nothing to do with it. He did not know why this was happening to him. And he did not curse God, as the accuser said. So again, another day came, right, on Job. This is the 2nd chapter of Job, where these heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord. And the accuser again, amongst them, presented himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" The accuser answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." So the Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still persists in his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him for no reason." Right there, y'all. God said this. It said, the Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still persists in his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him for no reason." So here God says he did it for no reason. Where was Job's free will? Where was his children that he lost? And then he moves ahead and allows him to touch Job, place his hands upon Job to hurt him and harm him, put him with boils for months, and he did not speak against God. His wife urged him to speak against God, said so that he could strike him down from his suffering, right? Where was the wife's free will? His wife, who bore 10 children. I can imagine having to give birth 10 times. And because this God, who is supposed to be all powerful and all knowing and all loving, needs validation from the accuser, aka Satan, and he's showing him how great he is. Right, Power Kids Mix. So this Bible God needs validation from Satan. I'm gonna put it on the thing. Right, needs validation from Satan, needs to impress Satan, and then decided to play Russian roulette with Satan using Job's life and his family. Clown behavior, absolutely. And that's exactly what he did. He took his health, and again, this. So how do we have free will? I was listening to a panel today, and the free will topic comes up every time, and she destroyed him because we see so many times. And then when Job did finally ask him why, God pretty much told him to shut the F up. He said, "I made all these things. I'm the creator. Who are you to question me about anything I do?" And he may have received blessings, but then you'd have to let me know, how is it that, you can't replace children? Even if his wife had 10 more children, his adult 10 children are gone. They most likely had children of their own, orphaned. There's nothing you can say that could compel me that this God isn't evil for doing such a different thing. So many people were their wives, their husbands, the like, and Job did everything right according to the law of God. God himself said that he was upright and righteous, and there was none like him, and he still hold him up to the wolves. And I say too, like, why did you need to prove anything to Satan? If you already know the answer to the test, why put anybody through it? All these things, all these factors that a lot of people don't take into an account. And when you try to question them, they get offended. They want to try to, act like you're the problem, like the Christians in the comments. But to me, this is so important to me because deconstructing this, unlearning this, is a big part of how we change and move forward and become better. We have to be critical thinkers. We can't keep allowing people to lead us into foolishness, okay? So let's go into my next section, okay, where I want to talk about this whole bullshit about free will and how we all have it. Because in the Bible, women definitely did not have free will. In scripture, you will not see it. And this is where, my feminist sisters, the girls that get it, and even men that get it. I find atheist men get this a lot, right? At least an agnostic men. The irony is that Satan wasn't even thinking or looking for Job. The God brought Job into the mix first. Exactly. And they love to say like, oh, Satan brought him up. But I'm like, do you like and what they're remembering, I understand, because I thought the same thing. And that's why I decided to start rereading the Bible, because I thought the same thing, because that's what I was shown in like Bible stories, especially as a child. Like the Bible stories, that's what they showed. They showed Noah preaching to people, telling everybody that this flood was happening. But in the text in the scripture, that's not in there at all. God made a decision, decided everybody was evil, didn't get anybody a chance. He said he regretted making mankind, and how can an all-knowing God regret something, right? All these things, they don't add up to an all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful God. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're going to bring it back around to the feminism of it all, okay? Because women did not have free will in this Bible. Every law about women is about control, not choice. Here's a few receipts that you can find in the biblical text, right? We have forced marriages, Levite marriages. We have virginity tests. There are grape laws. When I say grape, I'm saying something else, right? But there are grape laws where the rapist gets to marry their victim. There's no property rights for women. There's no autonomy, no voice in the temple. Concubines are used as breeding stock in this Bible. Women are traded like cattle. I mean, Lot's wife was turned to salt for looking back. Okay? This God does not give a damn about women or women's equality. Free will where? Not seeing it. And Christians today still weaponize free will against victims. Right? You got assaulted. Well, God lets people make their choices. But the victims don't have a choice. They don't have a voice. And I'm sorry for the trigger warning. And I should have done a trigger warning. I'm just clicking to me now. I apologize. But it's a truth that we have to face about this Bible. And one of the reasons why we need to just throw it away. I'm sorry. I really do think we need to throw this away. And not just this, but as far as I'm concerned, all Abrahamic religions, right? The Muslims can go, again, even the Jewish doctrine. It's not helpful. It helps reinforce a lot of bigotry and prejudice. So when you think about it, like free will where? I'm not seeing it. I'm not. It's also the fact that when you look at abusers, they get to use their free will to wield their abuse, but what about the victim's free will? The victim's free will isn't protected at all. It's always used to defend abusers, but in the case of victims, our free will doesn't exist in those moments, can't be explained. And if you want the text for that, we can go there, right? Deuteronomy 22, verse 28 through 29. Let's pull it up. Oh my gosh, this thing is working so slow right now. There we go. Let's see, Deuteronomy 22. Is it? Oh, I already had it. Hold on. Yeah, 28 verse 29. So it's more down. But I do have it highlighted already because I've been through this before. If you've watched some of my other lives, we've been through this before. So if a man meets a virgin who is not engaged and seizes her and lies with her, and they are discovered, the man who lay with her shall give 50 shekels of silver to the young woman's father, and she shall become his wife. Because he violated her, he shall not be permitted to divorce her as long as he lives. So here, this is God giving a law to the Israelites, to Moses, and he's saying that if a virgin who is not engaged, so she's not betrothed to anybody, and he seizes her and lies with her, meaning he's forcing on her, and we already know that God said because he violated her, so we know it's a violation of her. We know this is not of consent, and they are discovered. The man simply has to pay the father 50 shekels, and then he gets to marry her, and she has to be married to him for the rest of his life. How is that fair? Right? And if we scroll up, we have the virginity tests, right? 13 for 21. Suppose a man marries a woman, but after going into her, dislikes her. So after being with her, laying with her, y'all, and he dislikes her and he makes up charges against her, slandering her by saying, I married this woman, but when I lay with her, I did not find evidence of her virginity. The father of the young woman and her mother shall then submit the evidence of the young woman's virginity to the elders of the city at the gate. The father of the young woman shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. And now he has made up charges against her, saying, I did not find evidence of your daughter's virginity, but here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And then they shall spread out the cloth before the elders of the town. So they're like pretty much, this guy's saying, I didn't like it. I don't like her. She's not doing justice for me. So I'm going to pretty much say that she wasn't a virgin when I married her, which is some purity bullshit. He then says to them, he has to prove it. So they bring out the bed sheet. Here's where it gets even more sinister. Today we know that only about 50% of women, I think it's like 49% of women, bleed their first time. Now you'd think that a God, an all-knowing God, would know this, right? Because we know this now due to science and just research, and 50% don't bleed. That means that at this time when this law was made, that God would have known this, and many women would have been stoned, because that's what happens. If there is no detection of blood, the girl is stoned to death. And if there is, let's see, what was the rule again if they did? Right, so the elders of that town shall make that man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, which they shall give to the young woman's father, not to the girl, to his father, because he has slandered a virgin of Israel. She shall remain his wife. He shall not be permitted to divorce her as long as he lives. So she again has to marry this accuser who dislikes her. He says, I disliked her. He came up with this reason to divorce her. And now he's failed at this. But now what he has to do is pay money. And then he's permitted to divorce her. Oh, sorry. And then he has to remain his wife. And then if the charge is true and the virginity was not found, the woman shall be entered to the entrance of the father's house They shall stone her to death because she committed a disgraceful act in Israel by prostituting herself in her father's house. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. Right? Just another case of a disgusting misogynistic God where women are used as property. So where's the free will of the women? Right? If we go to Deuteronomy 21, which we've also discussed this before as well, but I haven't been live in a long time. Right? We have women taken as war prizes. Right? Verses 10. See, when you go out to war against your enemies and the Lord your God hands them over to you and you take them captive, suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman whom you desire and want to marry. And so you bring her home to your house. She shall shave her head, pare her nails, discard her captive garbs, and remain in your house a full month, mourning for her father and mother. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you are not satisfied with her, you shall let her go free and certainly not sell her for money. You must not treat her as a slave, since you have dishonored her. So even God knows and realizes the dishonorment of this. There's no consent by this girl of whether she wants to be this man's wife. I can go on and on and on about this. Numbers 31, 17 to 18, right? There's another verse where virgin girls can be kept for the soldiers, right? Genesis 19, verse 8, where Lot offers his daughters to be graped by the men of Sodom and Gomorrah. Judges 19, yes, that entire chapter. The concubine is graped to death, to unalignment. This is what's happening. I can go on. I have more. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And I don't want to go through it all. But I think I've done a great job of already showing you how women have no free will. Even now and today, with all the violence perpetuated by men towards women, why hasn't God stepped in? What about the free will of the women and children who are being abused at this hand? What good and service does it do? What kind of all-loving God pretty much acts as a voyeur, watching these insane acts of sexual violence against women and children and other men and boys, by the way, and do nothing and not intervene? So let's talk about why Christians need the free will excuse. Right, because I have my theories. Let's stop sharing for now. So why does this argument even exist? Christians need free will. This is what I've come up with. Okay. And I don't think it's because the Bible supports it, but because it keeps the whole faith from completely collapsing. Number one, it protects God from responsibility, right? Because the moment you admit God could stop bad things but doesn't, then you have to face the reality that God is either cruel, incompetent, or uninterested. And Christians cannot let that thought exist. Two, it allows the church to silence victims, right? People who are hurt, abused, harmed. They're told that it was free will and they just have to pray harder. It's spiritual gaslighting, telling you that, this happened to you for a reason. It was to make you stronger. It was to create this special bond with God. That's so fucking gross to me. And they use it time and time again. I've seen it happen to others. Another thing I believe is that it keeps believers from blaming themselves, right? Because if it's not God's fault, then it must be your fault. It keeps the power structures in place that a lot of churches really rally around and bring in to the fold when dealing with things that happen that are out of control. And explaining away why God does not show up, right? They use free will to pretty much excuse everything God could prevent but doesn't. Again, abuse, child harm, poverty, oppression, natural disasters, mass unalivings, violence, disease, all these things that honestly, I don't understand why we need to experience them. It's unnecessary when there's an all-loving, all-powerful God there. As someone who is a parent, I couldn't imagine making my child go through all these things trying to make them stronger, that you guys would take my child from me. But when it's God, it doesn't matter. And I do have more examples of even that, right? There was that time that Elijah cursed down upon these children who were just simply making fun of him because he was bald, right? He had 42 little boys unalived by a bear because they made fun of his bald head. Free will all of a sudden did not matter. When God wanted to strike people down unalived for touching a box wrong, free will did not matter. When God wanted to impregnate a 14-year-old Mary without her actual consent, free will where? Free will who? When God wanted to wipe out entire nations, free will where? Free will who? But now he suddenly respects autonomy way too much to stop children from being harmed, to stop children from having to starve. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Right? And if you want to fact check those, I got them too. 2 Kings 2, verse 23 through 24. That's when God sent the bears to kill 42 children for teasing Elijah. In 1 Samuel 6, verse 19, God unalived 70 men for looking at the ark. Looking into it. 2 Samuel 6, verses 6 through 7, Uzzah struck down unalived for touching the ark to steady it. He was trying to steady it. Okay? Luke 1, chapter 1, verse 26 through 38. The announcement to Mary. She isn't given a choice. It's simply declared to her. And I can go on. I literally have it for you guys. You guys want to ask questions? Go ahead. But in the Bible, when God wanted to intervene, he definitely did intervene. Free will was never a factor or had anything to do with anything. And I'm honestly going to leave it there, right? Thank you to the 4 people that are here. Please remember to comment, like the video if you already have not, right? Thank you so much for watching. Laby says, how does a loving, omniscient God create beings pre-knowing what was going to happen? It's like a parent deliberately sending their child outside with unfamiliar pit bulls, knowing the outcome. Exactly. And it's so frustrating. And I've been thinking, and I'm still thinking about it, because I did want to start having my own panels on TikTok. I tried it a few times. I didn't really have people show up, but I'm not in the algorithm over there. But I have thought about it, because you should hear some of these excuses. And ultimately, if anything, what I learned from them is just how dangerous the mindset of the people who follow this religion are. And even though I too was indoctrinated into this religion, there's no way that you could show me these things, tell me these things, and that I could even now just reading these things and think that this is an all-loving, omniscient God. It makes no sense. And these stories continuously show us that is the furthest from the truth. And I'll honestly say, I've heard a rabbi say that, in fact, they don't believe that this God is actually all those things. They believe that their God can make mistakes. That he's not all knowing. He's not all loving. He has anger. That's why they see themselves in them. So at least in the Jewish aspect of this God and their worship of this God, from what I understand, is that they don't even think those things. This is something that Christianity has put in order to indoctrinate people to get them believing all of this BS, right? And the truth is that they don't want to admit is that if God were real and good, he could stop evil without violating anyone's free will. But he doesn't. Because the Christian God has never cared about human autonomy in the very first place. The Bible is not this story of this loving God. Okay, it's a story of a tyrant who interferes when it pretty much benefits him. And like he disappears again and it benefits the abuser. You know what I mean? Free will is not this like divine gift that God gave us. It's like this theological scapegoat. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because at the end of the day, it pretty much destroys all moral sense that Christianity tries to tell us their religion gives them. But I don't know. This today concludes today's Sunday Revival, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. If you have anything more to add, leave it comments below. I do want to kind of have like a time at the end where we can kind of commune and like talk about things that were discussed. And if you guys want to come up and discuss, that would be great. I can't do it today, but that's something I've been thinking about. I'm going to hold a vote on my community tab. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed. I want to talk to you guys soon. But for now, I'll have to talk to you later. I love y'all though. Thank you so much for coming through. Again, I appreciate y'all. Talk soon.